Good evening, boys and girls. Welcome to another live edition of the Highbury Squad. Silence. Tick-tock, tick-tock, crickets, crickets. Here we go.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Good evening, boys and girls. Welcome to another live edition of the Highbury Squad. Where do we begin? Where do we begin? Vinny wants to say something. Hi, everyone. Kev's not here, and it's not by design. It is by design. He's not backing out in any way. He's actually working the game. Sorry, I'm a bit all over the place. I'm not going to lie. That was absolutely abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. And tonight we have a bit of a different show. So I'm doing the post game for a little bit here on my own. I'm going to give you my thoughts and my player ratings. You guys are my co-host tonight. Welcome to everyone in chat. And then we're going to put in a link to an open mic in the chat. So if any of you want to come into the show and have your say, you will be welcome to do that. And we're doing it in association with Magic Mike and Jared Carver and the boys over at the Gooners Pod. So once I'm done with my bit, they will be taking over and they will be inviting all of you via the Highbury Squad here to have your say. In fact, I don't know. I was going to duck out and maybe I'll stay in and listen in a little bit. The first half, let's be honest, is it even worth talking about? Is the first half even worth talking about? I don't think it is. It was absolutely atrocious and abysmal. I'm not even going to talk about the lineup, right? Because I said at the start, I don't care who plays, just win. We just have to win. Let me just say hi to some of you. It is a sad reality, the Black Victory. P45, hi LA, how you doing? D Black, how's it going? I am wearing my football funeral outfit tonight. I'm Darth Vader's daughter. I would love to hear from people who want to continue to defend this manager. Honestly, I really do. On this show, I've been talking about how some of our results have papered over cracks. And I've been very consistent in saying that we've had spurts of really phenomenal football this season. 35 minutes again. I was on Sky Sports News early kickoff this morning. And they said to me, hey, you guys are improving under Arteta. And I actually surprised them with my answer because they were like, wow, I wasn't expecting that response. What response were you expecting? We played 35 minutes of brilliant football against Tottenham. We had a brilliant first half against Leicester, and we annihilated Aston Villa. Once again, we did not learn from our mistakes. We went to Old Trafford. We sat on a 1-0 lead. Didn't work. Went to Everton, one of the worst teams in the Premier League right now, haven't won in 8 games. Their fans were supposed to walk out tonight. And do you know why they didn't? Because they actually fancied that they would win the game. We were shocking. And once again, we sit on a 1-0 lead. And then at the end of the game, we actually have 2 opportunities to equalise. Eddie Nketiah hits the post. And what was Aubameyang's effort at the end? And I'm sorry, you bring on Nketiah and you've got Aubameyang on the bench and you've got Pepe on the bench. What is going on? And our midfield was beyond pedestrian. I know Xhaka's just coming back from an injury. Tierney, you could see, was struggling after a little bit. He made the substitution that was right. I swear to God, you guys know I wear my heart on my sleeve on this show. I said to Vinny and Vespa, I said, you know what, guys? The last thing I want to do right now is go on air and talk about this this team. You know, I was going to say cup. I'm sick and tired of hearing people tell me that he won the FA Cup. Stop the madness. This is Everton. They have been absolute rubbish all season. I haven't gone supersonic in a really, really long time. I've kept my shit together. And I've listened to Kev say, it's the players, Soph, it's the players. God, I wish he was on the show tonight. But he will be tomorrow. And I'm not having it. This is Arsenal Football Club. I was looking at the league table when Emery got fired. 7th he was. I think he had 19 points. 2 years later, here we are with what, 23 points. What is the fucking difference? The difference is this dude won his FA Cup final and Emery got battered in his. That is it. Were these players even playing for their manager tonight? What are the senior players doing? Even Gabriel was shocking tonight. Thomas Partey, I am sorry, but the Hubble telescope is still looking for your bloody shot from the first half. And, by the way, we are doing and playing like this without European football. And then, Pete, when I compare us to West Ham, everybody's like, yeah. West Ham are in 4 competitions. Oh, my God. Raid, why don't you come on the show and have a discussion with me right now? Sophie didn't watch the game. You are so negative. Just wanted to be negative. Are you kidding me? Do you even exist or are you a robot? Are you actually telling me I'm trying to be negative now for the sake of being negative? Because you know what? I respect your opinion, but that is absolute horseshit. What was positive about that match? Other than Odegaard, who everyone's tried to shit on, by the way, and was trying his best and scored another goal. Maybe you're related to Mikel Arteta and you just come on here to rile me up. Well, tonight you did. Well done. Because calling me negative is absolute horseshit tonight. That is the absolute worst game of football I've seen all season from us. Stop enabling the manager. Stop enabling him. I'm not going to kill this young team. I'm not going to kill Saka. I'm not going to kill Ben White. I'm not going to do that to Nuno. I'm not doing it to Sambi. I'm not doing it to those players because we've seen those players play well. Why is it we can go to Leicester and annihilate them and keep our foot on the gas? And against Manchester United and against all these other teams, the handbrake goes back on. Why? This is a game we had to win. We got West Ham coming up. We got Leeds. We got other winnable games. But this is just pathetic football. He was out-coached in the second half. He brought Rafa Benitez brought Gomez on, changed the system, and boom. We were like deer in headlights. But if you want to come on the show tonight and defend it, fine, come on. And then you bring on Eddie Nketiah. I mean, how humiliating. I've not been a fan of Aubameyang lately. None of us have. But tonight, you know what? Is it really all Aubameyang's fault? Are you going to blame Aubameyang? Are you going to blame Thomas Partey? He brings on Nketiah. He's got Pepe. Pepe is finished at this club. Finished. Oh, my God. I'm going to have to calm down. I might need some... Oh, here. Let me bring the boys in. Hey, fellas.
Hey, Soph, how you doing?
I'm not sure I can calm you down that much tonight, Soph.
Am I wrong, Mike?
No. I mean, look, we're always going to have slightly different approaches, but that was a horrifically played, horrifically managed game tonight. At no point in that game were we in a position to say that we deserve to win, even for the 30 or 40 minutes that we were leading the game. I mean, I I don't know what to say. I fully expected something very, very different from this game, although I feared exactly what we ended up with.
Okay, so we were beaten, we were beaten by a worldie, yes, but also the second offside goal for Richarlison was like a nail, not even a nail. It was like the tip of my nail. We got lucky. I mean, the dude had a hat trick on the night. Of course he didn't, but he did. It's like, just look at the evidence. It's there to see. The defense was horrific tonight.
Oh, it was an embarrassing performance from beginning to end. Even when we had the lead, it was a terrible first 45 minutes that we had, 5 seconds of good play at the end there to make it, kind of gloss over a lot of the issues we had. But it was terrible from beginning to end.
Nikhil, you must have missed the beginning. I did call out Party. I actually said the Hubble telescope is still looking for his bloody shot from the first half.
Oh my God. I didn't think that he could actually like get that meme situation about his shots and Rosed any worse. But Rosed was looking up.
Here's what bugs me, Mike and Jared. This undisputed Kushite. I love your picture, by the way, legend. This is what pisses me off. I'm sorry. Handbrake off from Sophie tonight, and I never call my name out loud in public. I mean, that's ridiculous. Anyone who uses their name third person, all that shit is an idiot. I'm an idiot. Call me an idiot.
You mean like Magic Mike?
Like Magic Mike. How can you blame the manager though? These players don't play. So when we beat Leicester and we beat Villa and we smash Spurs, you praise Mikel Arteta because it's Mikel Arteta, or was it the players? Thanks, Tony. Thank you. Thanks very much. We lost, by the way, Tony.
She couldn't tell.
I think they knew.
She went to get me some goulash. Came back. I left happy. Came back and could hear the yelling from the side of the street. So when we lose, it's the players' fault. When we win, it's Mikel Arteta.
Well, ironically, I was doing a watch along with Dave on another channel, and when we were winning, I'm like, okay, let's be honest here, because I look at that Manchester United game and I tend to say, those were some individual mistakes, things you can't necessarily pin on Mikel Arteta. And I said, I'm willing to also say that we are winning 1-0 right now at halftime, and it's got nothing to do with Mikel Arteta. He had no imprint on this game in a positive way at all. I don't know.
No, but Rafa Benitez did. That substitution of Gomez for Townsend changed the entire complex of that game, Jared, completely. Now, Raid, I think, is literally trying to wind me up here. Sophie, you don't understand to lose a game. It's football. You said that against Man United, by the way. It's an away game. We don't have mentality or character to win those games. It's football. Learn to accept a loss.
Never start a sentence with those 4 words. That's my tip of the day.
Exactly. KC is actually working the game tonight.
I saw him.
Here.
We saw him behind Rafa at the end of the game. We saw him.
Very, very lucky. I'm not overreacting. I am not overreacting. By the way, this is my reaction. I'm entitled to it. If you don't like it, that's on you, and I totally respect that. But I've seen this movie, I've drank from the mug, and I've worn the T-shirt, and I've tried really hard on this show for the last few weeks to be positive about our team, even though when there's games like this, it just drives you nuts. We've got the talent. We've seen that talent perform against the teams I've mentioned. This coach is inconsistent, and there's something wrong with some of these folks.
Coach is inconsistent. The players are also inconsistent. I'm not saying one or the other is or isn't. And, as much as I say, when we're in a poor run of form and we snatch a late draw against Palace, I want to celebrate it in the moment because it's the best thing that's ever happened in that moment of time. I don't see how you could possibly deny someone the opportunity to take a moment like what we're in right now, even though overall we're still 7th in the table. You could look at it there, to take a moment like right now and disavow them of the opportunity to be freaking livid about it is just stupid. I mean, there's nothing to be happy about this game. Now, it's various people. Can I be so bold on your channel as to say that if you'd like to have a counterpoint to the reaction?
Yeah. Do you want me to put what's the address? Okay. Do you want to do it? Do you want I was going to go. I was going to leave.
We don't know. We don't want you. I mean, you're only 15 minutes in. We don't want you to leave.
I mean, I think maybe we just start bringing people in. Do you want to do that, Mike? And I'll be your bitch. You tell me what you want to do.
I don't know quite how to feel about that. Well, look, we're going to try something else out tonight. It doesn't have to start right now, but if you want to have,
by the way, that was a joke. Like I'm sure people will be like, oh, listen to. I mean, sorry. I mean, it's just. I'm sorry. It's just I'm pissed off. I'm really pissed off. We put hours and hours into doing shows, and sometimes it's really hard when you love your club, all right, and you see that's tough. That was tough. That is that loss is actually now worse than Manchester United. So it's compounded now, you know. And when you see this evidence over and over again, it's a lack of reaction. I mean, when you have a game like Liverpool, you want to see the reaction to that, and the reaction was slightly underwhelming, but ultimately positive against Newcastle, and so there you go. And then when Manchester United happens, you want to see the reaction to that, and the reaction to that today was absolutely filth. I mean, from minute 1 to minute 96, we never looked like we cared or wanted that game.
It was completely uninspiring from beginning to end. And from the comment about Arteta, I mean, anyone who watches anything I do, I've been as pro Arteta as anybody out there. But to say he doesn't have any level of culpability after these performances, I think is a little bit silly. You know, the same people who say we have a squad that's good enough to finish top 4 in a European place, which I think talent-wise we do. That's the job of the manager, is to maximize what you have in front of you. And I don't think you'd find a single person who's watched these last couple games and think that he's got them playing anywhere near their maximum. So there is some failure at their top. There's certainly failure on the players too. It's not a one or the other situation, but to alleviate all responsibility from Mikel for what we've been seeing, I think is going a bit too far in his favor.
No.
Yeah.
Do I think he should be sacked tomorrow morning? No. And I might differ, and other people might differ from opinion on that. And that's a debate worth having. Go to GoonerOpenMic.com if you want to participate in that debate.
GoonerOpenMic.com. Come in and join the boys and have your say.
You will magically end up in the red room. Which
we got New York City Gooner, Mike. Shall I bring him in?
Absolutely. I think that's NYC Gooner, man. All right.
Hello. Hey, Sophie, how are you?
I'm not good. How are you?
Oh, you know already about me. You know, because I come up all the time and I tell you, I've been telling you this before we won the FA Cup. I said, regardless of the result, he should be sacked. You could say it. Let me explain something to you about a big football club. A big football club, it's more than just getting result. We get some occasional result, but we are not convincing in any game. I said it today before the game. We're just not convincing. I told you guys about Aubameyang a long time ago. I watched him when he was at AC Milan. He was never good enough. He went to St. Etienne. He was a winger. Then he went to Dortmund. Look at Timo Werner in Germany. You saw what Timo Werner did in England. Aubameyang is not good enough either. None of them are good enough. But the main reason is Arteta. He has no real tactics. It's like 11 guys go out there and they're having a kick about. That's all is going on there at our football club. And I'm getting sick and tired of it. Everybody keeps telling us Arteta needs time. What does he need time to do? You didn't say Steven Gerrard need time. He go in and immediately you see a reaction from the players. Arteta has spent 250 million quid at Arsenal Football Club right now. Thomas Partey wasn't good enough. But you guys told me, Sophie, you too. You told me that Guendouzi was a headless chicken running around. But he did look like a headless chicken. You know why? Because he was fighting for the badge. And then you got people like Granit Xhaka strolling around in the middle of the park. And he was the only one running around for the badge. He fight for the badge. We brought in Ben White. Ben White is 5 feet 11 inches tall. I want you to tell me, when he goes up against people like Chris Woods and these mass Hurricane and these massive centre forward, what is he going to do? What is little Ben White going to do? For 50 million quid, he's not good enough. These players are not good enough. I mean, they're better than what we're seeing because there's no pattern of play. You could watch teams like Brighton. You watch teams like Southampton, right? And they might not win the game. They might not get the result. But they give you a game. You could see a pattern of play. Yes, the players are not good enough. Neil Maupay is not a brilliant striker, but you could see what the manager has done with the players. I have not seen one Arsenal performance under Mikel Arteta, and I could say, yes, we were dominant in the game, but we were unlucky. You remember under Wenger, right? We would go to Chelsea against Mourinho, we would lose the game, but we would say we were unlucky. What game do we lose under Mikel Arteta and we were unlucky? We weren't unlucky. We got dominated.
Wolves last year.
Tonight.
Oh, yeah. Listen, some fantastic points from you. Brilliant stuff. Thank you for joining NYC Gooner. And you know what? You did say after the FA Cup, and I remember, and all of the points you bring up are valid. You look at the managers that have come in, Gerrard, an immediate impact. You know, you just, and I would say we can't compare ourselves to Tuchel and Chelsea and the Lampard thing. Ralph Rangnick already having an impact. Even Michael Carrick had an impact on Manchester United. So thank you for joining us. And
thank you, NYC.
all right,
Sophie,
thanks.
Sophie,
Yes,
Sophie, I want to ask you a question, right?
Okay, yeah.
Do you remember, Kurt Zuma, Christiansen, Rudiger? What was all the Chelsea fans saying when Lampard was the manager? These players are not good enough. Do they look good enough now? Do they? Jorginho is just like Xhaka. He's brilliant pass off the ball. They're slow in midfield. They cannot tackle it and they cannot recover. So he has a mistake waiting to happen. What he has a brilliant manager. Arteta is not that.
Rafa Benitez changed the game in the second half. He brought on Andre Gomez and changed the complexity in the system, and we were lost after that, Mike.
Yeah, and it's bizarre because, why didn't he change the previous 8 games that they lost against presumably lesser opponents than us outside of Liverpool? So, I just don't know how to judge it on a one-game basis, but this was poor. And NYC Gooner, we appreciate you coming on.
We're going to have to bring other people in who are waiting.
Right, but I keep listening to you guys, okay?
Yeah, we'll do it again. Thanks, mate.
Awesome. Thank you.
Brilliant stuff. I have someone else for you, Mike. Here we go.
Oh, we can see you. You've got lighting. Fantastic. And I can't see the name because Tammy's comment's still on there. Is that Max?
Yes.
This is AFC Max. Yeah.
Hey, Max. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, so as a long-time avid supporter of your content, Sophie, there's one thing I can definitely say for absolute certainty, that you're very balanced in terms of your views and everything else. I think what's pissed me off the most about tonight is that we had a chance to win against United and win against, Everton, and to have a close of a distance of a gap. And it's just really disappointing. And I may look calm, and I am quite calm at the moment, but I'm trying to stay calm and be sort of balanced in my views and everything else. And I just don't understand what he was thinking of bringing on Eddie Nketiah. What he has turned down a contract to stay at Arsenal for whenever, and yet Pepe, Aubameyang's on the bench, and you got to put them on instead. I've said for weeks and weeks now that Partey isn't fully fit, and it's just compounded that the result that he just looks absolutely awful. It's just absolutely awful. And Lokonga was playing really well. I said at the start of the game, he should have started Lokonga and Xhaka, because Partey's been out of form for weeks and weeks, and he just hasn't looked up to it. And to be honest, I'm speechless. I really am. There's nothing more that I can say that that you haven't already said, and it's just I don't know where we go from here. And personally, for me, as someone who's been an avid supporter of Arteta, I hold my hands up. I have been an avid supporter. I'm gonna say this right now: if he gets sacked from now until, or even in January, I won't be surprised. I won't be surprised. I won't be shocked. I won't have any sort of sympathy whatsoever, because he's done it to himself. And to be honest with you, I'm going to say that I give him to the end of the season. If he doesn't get European qualification by the Europa League or Champions League, I'm sorry, but I can't support him any longer, because it's not good enough. As a club of a stature of Arsenal, we're languishing in 8th and 7th, 6th, whatever we decide to finish at the end of the season, right? I'm it's not good enough for any sort of standards of club, you know. And to be honest, like, I'm not going to go in on the new players because I think they generally want to win and have the mentality to win. It's the same old culprits from the Arsene Wenger period, the Unai Emery period. That's holding the team back. You know, you look at Aubameyang, who's in the last year of his contract. You look at Lacazette, who's in his final year of his contract. You know, you look at, you know, Eddie Nketiah, that was also under Arsene Wenger's period. That it doesn't look like he's up for the fight at all. Tierney, who didn't mind him coming back at all. He looked like he was not at full capacity, even though he did get an assist today. It was at the first half. I was looking at the first half and I'm like, it's just safe. No one's taking the initiative to go and make a run. You know, it's very just, let's pass the ball around, let's be safe. And no one's like, you know, grasping the roots, shall we say. No one's doing something that's going to change the game. You know, the one thing that Tomiyasu did really well against Newcastle is that he made a run and he managed to get across into Martinez for the Martinez goal. No one was doing it. No one was grabbing the scruff of the neck of the game. And it's just...
You're making some great points. I want to try to unpack a couple of them if we can while we have you on. The first thing that you mentioned was that I wanted to talk about is the Nketiah substitution. Now, when I saw him come on, I forgot that Aubameyang was on the bench. I basically said, well, that's it for Pepe, because that's 2 straight games that we've seen it. But I mean, Jared, Nketiah essentially is on his way out of the club, says, I'm not going to sign another contract, and now he's getting playing time. These are the kind of Willian man management things that I thought that Arteta had put behind him.
Yeah, I don't really understand it unless the thought is, you know, they think they bring him in and he has a couple of good performances. Maybe that sort of
shop window
opens up a chance to move him in January or something like that. But I don't really follow it. I think regardless of whether you want him here, you want him to sign the new contract, there's no question that Pepe's more likely to come in and impact the game, I think, than Eddie Nketiah. And more than anything, Arsenal, when you're playing poorly, you can't also miss your just 100% should make chances. We saw Aubameyang miss from 1 yard out a couple games back. You see Nketiah miss the header from 1 yard out. When you're a team that's not playing well, you can't compound that error by just continually missing these game-changing, easy chances. I'm not saying he needs to go out there and bang in a goal like Gray did, but to head the ball from 1 yard out, you've got to put that on target. And we just consistently make these same mistakes over and over again, and it just kind of compounds all the problems we're having around that as well.
So Max, you said it wouldn't surprise you, wouldn't shock you if he's sacked between now and January. Do you think he should be sacked? I mean, let's go there. I mean, do you think how many performances in a row, or how many kind of back and forth situations where all of a sudden we've won a few games in a row, maybe less than impressively. Think about what we did in September, for example, Burnley, Norwich, and then a great game against Spurs. How many of these kind of back and forth situations do you have patience for? And because I tend to have more patience than most people do, but if we keep responding to adversity like this instead of like we have in other situations, I think you're right to lose patience.
Look, the thing is, mate, like, honestly, I've said, like, I looked at our next 5 fixtures after Everton, right? And they're all very, very winnable fixtures. But now after the Everton result, I'm having question marks right next to them, right? Because of the results that I've just seen against United and Everton, right? And if he manages to win the next 5 games convincingly, I'm going to say, right, we've you know, sort of kept the slate clean. But if
you're going on results, that you're going on the results you're seeing, which is how I tend to look at it, rather than I've already seen enough warning signs that even a few wins won't fix it for me. Because I think both avenues of how you judge the coach are appropriate at this point.
Look, if he wins the next 5 games, I'll give him more time. How if he loses the next 5 games, that and January approaches, that's it.
he loses the next 5 games, I don't know that there could be possibly anybody left in his corner.
Yeah.
All right, Max.
Okay,
appreciate you joining us.
got to let Max go. Okay,
Anyway,
thanks, Max.
Sophie. Cheers,
It was
thank
lovely
you.
to have you on. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Really appreciate you.
Take care, Sophie, and
you
keep
too,
it up.
babe.
Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mike. I have Banky Akins. Am I pronouncing your last name incorrectly? I probably am.
Is this Banksy that I keep hearing about? The famous Banksy?
Is that the Banksy?
Is this a wall that's getting ready to have art on it that we've never seen before? I mean, that's I'm honored. So you can't be in a good mood, but what do you have a particular area that you want to cover? We're going to try to maybe limit it to one take because we do have people waiting and
yeah, that's fine. I'll try and make it really concise as well. I've been listening to everybody's opinion, and I feel like we all have a right to be upset at the minute and reactionary. I said it a bit differently, and I've been saying this on every program that I've been in the last few weeks. I think, yes, the game is just finished. We are all stressed. But this is not going to change anytime soon, unfortunately. During the transfer window, I remember, I think it was on one of, I can't remember which of the fan camps. I said the problem we have in this club, it's a culmination of things. Yes, we have an inexperienced manager who does well in some things, the way he projects the club, and he's a right manager for us in that sense. But unfortunately, Arsenal has been on this trend of mediocrity for quite a while that we all have, been, screaming and, been displeased about for years. And I don't see that mentality changing. When he was signing players this summer, I was saying it, I said, the problem that I see in Arsenal is not just about it's tactically inept at Arteta. It's proven that over time. There's been some games where he's done well. For me, this season, the only game that I've actually seen Arsenal win convincingly was Tottenham. Any other game from that, we literally scrap through every other game that we won. And we've set our expectations unrealistically in the last sort of 6 weeks on the back of that long run that we had. And whilst we were winning those games and we're scrapping through, I kept on saying, there's a disconnect in this team. The mentality of this team is not good. And Sophie, I've listened to you so many times, I've agreed with you so many times, but you keep on saying one thing, which I disagree with. You said, we've got the talent, we've got these players, they are good. I really disagree with you on that one. These players are not good enough. If you're trying to go to Europe, now we have six teams now. We have the top three, which is the Chelsea, the Lions, which are absolutely trailblazing, they're on a different level. The next three to them, as proven the last 3 years, we have Leicester, we have West Ham, and we have Tottenham, right? Of all those three teams, even at the current Arsenal that we have right now, and the current state of all those teams, which of those teams do you think, or how many of our players do you think will fit into that team? The current Arsenal team will fit into those teams, even with their current state? I think we should be asking ourselves the right question.
But when Ramsdale's making super saves, when Martinelli comes on in 97 seconds and his second touch scores a goal, when we play the way we did against Tottenham, these are flash in the pan performances. But we know that here's the problem is we don't and can't attract those kinds of players because we don't have European football, which is why we went and bought Nuno, Sambi, Tomiyasu. That's the difference. We can't offer them an outlet for Europe. And as Arsenal Football Club, when they can join even Leicester or West Ham or these other teams.
And I agree with you. But the problem that I have with Arsenal is the fan base, the mentality and the expectations we expect from these players. So you're saying something which I agree with right now. But unfortunately, we're not putting expectations. We're not matching expectations with reality.
Why is it the players' fault when we lose, though? Why is it always the players' fault when we lose?
It's not always the players' fault. And I'm not having a go at you, Sophie. I'm just saying, obviously, we're all frustrated. Everybody wants Arsenal to do well. But trust me, it's a culmination of both. It's not just Arteta. Arteta is rubbish. It's proven himself, especially in the last few games, that he's tactically inept. I'm not always going to defend Arteta. We could go on a run and play 3 games and win it. I'm still going to tell you that it takes personalities and characters to play for Arsenal Football Club. And I don't see that. We've made a lot of decisions.
But like James says, it's our senior players. Listen, thank you so much for joining us. It's good to hear a different perspective, by the way.
And I think, it's interesting that the players aren't good enough, but then we've also just had a caller who indicated that, it seemed like the players at Chelsea weren't good enough until they brought a proper coach in. Those two things are almost kind of mutually exclusive, but
Exactly.
it just shows that, there's no right or wrong about it. I tend to disagree. I think our players are good enough to finish top 4, but they're just not playing like it right now.
Exactly. Listen, thanks for joining the show, and we appreciate you listening and supporting. Don't forget, if you don't follow the Gooners Pod, this is their jam, and tonight we're collaborating. And please follow at Gooners Pod as well. And Banky, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Let's see who is next, Mike.
I can't
I'm gonna bring in.
Yeah, there we go.
Tanner, what's up, guys? How are you? I'll keep it quick because I got to run. But
that's nice.
I have one question for the three of you. How do you win? What does it take to win a game? What's the one thing that in every sport, at every level, a team has to do to win a game?
Outscore the opponent.
You got to go score.
Wait. Take one word out of that for me, Mike. Take one word.
Take one word out of that?
Score.
Okay.
You have to score.
But doesn't defense win championships, Tanner? Haven't we always heard that?
I mean,
can't lose a game if you don't allow a goal. But that's the whole.
But you can't win a game if you don't score. So a life full of draws is. You may as well live in West Virginia and kiss your sister.
38 points ain't getting you in Champions League.
All right,
38 points ain't getting you the top half of the table. So,
is that what you wanted to say, Bearded?
I'm over it at this point. I get the wins that but the 1-0s to Watford, to Norwich, to Burnley, those have to go. We need to be dismantling the teams that we are very clearly better than, and we don't do that. And at this point, fine, don't give up a goal, but we're a -3 in goal differential right now. Think about that. A -3 in goal differential. And again, you're only winning 1-0 to Watford, to Norwich. Score goals, for crying out loud! Score goals, take some chances.
And at the end of the game, we had the opportunity to do that with Nketiah and Aubameyang, and they couldn't. Right, we've got to move on to our next caller, Mr. Bearded.
See you, Tanner.
Okay,
Daniel's
Mike, I have Daniel for you next. Let's get to Daniel. Here we go. Daniel Bailey. Oh,
that's not Daniel.
No, it's Daniel S.
Hello.
Yes, hi Daniel.
Hello.
How are
Hi.
you?
Hey, mate. How you doing? Hey. Yeah, I have to first of all compliment you on your shirt. Let's start there.
Thanks.
But beyond that,
well, it's very nice. Well, it's very nice to meet you all for the first time, and it's my first time like doing this sort of thing. But I had to come on.
Bless.
Because I wanted to come on when I was like reading rates, like comments in the chat, and saw how animated how Sophie was getting. So, and I was like what? But yeah, watching the game tonight. Like first off, I was bored.
I think we all were.
Yeah, I think that goal was our only shot on target in the first half, wasn't it? When Odegaard finished, I believe so.
Yeah, and to be fair, I had to turn around and see. Saw that ball went in, but to be honest, I think it was always going to happen tonight. Like something was in the air.
Yep. I actually said, Daniel, after the United game, and I think Mike was on the show with me, I said, I feel very uncomfortable about the game against Everton. I had a horrible feeling in the pit of my stomach, and we have a WhatsApp group, and I expressed exactly the same thing. There was just something about it.
I didn't. Naively,
no, you didn't.
I did not feel that sense of dread for this game, and it's mostly because we have shown this season, unlike in seasons past, that even though it's not just a massive clapback after a loss, we have been able to kind of steady the ship, and we didn't steady anything today.
No, we didn't.
Yeah,
Daniel, what else would you like to share before we let you go?
Just that. Well, just wondering why that that he brought Nketiah on when he's rejected the contract,
Exactly.
and when we've got hungrier players like Balogun.
What does it say to the rest of the team that Nketiah is getting in over Pepe, who who knows what's going on in training? But that's a very curious decision in light of his recent comments. I would agree.
Well, Daniel, you bring up some really
helpful.
You bring up some great comments, and we really appreciate you joining the show and having your voice heard. And thank you for coming in after Raid's rage, or his. But listen, I love him regardless. I love Raid. He listens to the show often. We completely disagree, and that's fine as well. But thank you so much for joining.
Having me on means a lot. And all right, cheers. Thank you.
It's great to see some new faces. That's what we love about this.
Thanks to you, Mike. This is a great idea, and I'm loving it. It's a bit different for us, but we love it. Thanks, Daniel. Take care.
Daniel.
I've got Colin for you next. Mike, I'm going to bring him in right now. Let's see, where's Colin? Next time, Mike will just be managing all of this. He said to me, how are we going to do this? It's going to go smoothly. Well, here we are. It's going kind of smoothly. Hey, Colin, welcome to the Highbury Squad and the Gooners Pod.
Colin,
hello.
2 weeks in a row. We had
2 weeks
Colin
in a row.
with us. We had Colin on with us when I was in Florida last week from the pub after the Newcastle game, and here we are again. So, and I may be down your way next Saturday. I'm thinking of coming down to Richmond. You're from Richmond, right?
Yes, sir.
Thinking of coming down to Richmond for a.
This dude is always trying to sort a social life. Whenever he's on,
I got my wife's still down in Florida. I got a buddy Tom. My buddy Tom's down in Richmond, and they have a podcast which is actually really good. And so we're gonna go down there and try to maybe do that for the Southampton. I mean, it's Southampton. We got to beat Southampton, right? So, Colin, what's going on with you tonight? How you feeling?
First
is there vodka in that? Is there vodka? Is that coffee or vodka? Come on.
There should be. I'll run off to my kitchen really quickly.
Look at me I'm overdosing on diet orange soda tonight. That's very un-Mike like, but or if I would use the third person, un-Magic Mike like.
Also known as
Colin,
copium.
have your voice heard. Go on. This is your time now.
Huge fans of both programs. I got my little wannabe Super Kev Campbell setup going on right here.
I'm going to screen grab it for him.
Please.
Done.
Comes on.
I didn't even salute the squaddies tonight, by the way. That's how angry I was. Sorry, go on.
At ease. Sorry, that's terrible.
That was pretty good.
No one does it like Super KC. Anyways, I actually mostly just, had a question that I wanted to pose to the three of you instead. I know that we've mentioned previously tonight that none of us are expecting Arteta to be going anytime soon, unless there's some extreme turn of form, like losing the next 5, I think was alluded a few minutes ago. But I'm wondering where the three of you lie in what you think a successful season would be. Personally, when I was going in, I thought he's either got to get top 4 or he's got to get top 6 and win us a trophy. That was sort of my benchmark, but I'm just curious what the three of yours thought processes are on
I'm going to let Jared answer this one. Yeah, I'm going to let Jared answer this one. And also, has anyone ever told you look like Ricky Fowler?
I haven't gotten that one yet.
Yeah, you totally look like Ricky Fowler. Yeah,
I'll
go on, Jared.
Thank you, Sophie.
For me, I guess we're kind of in agreement. I was going to say it should be a top 4 type of season. The top 3 are taken, but 4th place is going to be pretty wide open. Top 6 in a trophy, I think, puts them in arguable range to stay. And the problem is, if you want to replace a manager, you really need 3 things. You one, need obviously somebody better than who you currently have. 2, you need someone who's available and potentially out of a job or at a place where they would leave. And 3, you need someone who's willing to come to you. And it's really, really simple to come up with a whole list of names that fit 2 of those boxes. It's much, much harder to find someone that fits all 3. And I know the names that get dropped. People say like Ten Hag would be a good choice. I'm not sure he leaves his current situation to come to Arsenal right now. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. The one name who I'm not as high on as a lot of other people that gets thrown around that I think does meet it would be Graham Potter. But he doesn't do a lot for me. Anybody who comes in, I'm going to support them and hope they smash it. But there's just not a lot of names that meet all the criteria I want to see. Anybody that does, I'm happy to see well, not happy to, but I'm fine with Arteta going if the results are poor and we have a good replacement. What I don't want to do is see a reactionary sacking of the manager. We turn around and have a Freddie Ljungberg situation where we're just kind of in limbo and not really have an established direction. So for Arteta to make it through the season, he's not doing himself any favors this last week or so, but I think I'm in agreement with you overall. Top 4, he's obviously staying. We're back in Champions League and all the rest of it. Top 6 in a trophy, I think likely gets it done. Whether that's warranted to a lot of fans, I think would be questionable if we go, 8th, 6th, and win the FA Cup this year. I think a lot of people would still want to see him go. But at the highest levels of the club, I think as a person individually, he's very well liked. So it's going to take something a little bit more extreme in terms of failure for him to be on the way out.
If he gets Europe in any format, whether it's through the league or through a cup, I think he's coming back. I think that's the club's approach. That's not my opinion. That's the club's approach. And you know who I can't see bringing on Ten Hag because there's someone who's right. I mean, he's so much better than him. 11 Hag is clearly the better coach.
You're such a.
How can you hire a guy who isn't even the best Hag?
Listen, you know what the difference was, and what I want from a manager. To be honest with you, Ricky Fowler is. I want a manager who has in-game management. Rafa Benitez showed tonight that he has that experience.
Oh my God!
Arteta, I've only seen that a few times with him. He made a change in the second half, Rafa Benitez, and that won them the game. They had more possession. They were pressing high in the first half anyway. They took complete advantage of the fact that we sat back, and a player that they spent 2 million on ends up scoring a worldie. I mean, it was incredible. And this is a team that's broken. They just sacked their director of football. They were supposed to have a walkout, which didn't happen because they were actually playing better than Arsenal and decided to stay in the stadium. So, Colin, I'm going to have to let you go. And
of course,
promise to come back, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Look,
Huge. There he is.
A little higher up, Mike. A little higher up.
Sorry.
Seriously.
Why am I on 2 screens? I don't know.
That's a little weird, man.
Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Huge
Colin,
fans. Thank you so much. Programs. I'll be back. Love you guys.
See you, Colin.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to bring in Nikhil. I hope I'm pronouncing everyone's names right. If they don't, Mike, you're on mute. Hey, Nikhil, am I pronouncing your name correctly? Okay.
Nikhil, absolutely right.
Where are you joining us from?
Well, I'm joining you from Scotland, but I'm originally from India. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
lovely.
It's late night. You're tossing and turning, and gonna have to figure out how to get to sleep after a performance like this.
Always. I remember once Hector Bellerin saying in an interview after Arsenal win their match in the Champions League. This is when we were in the Champions League. Remember those days? That he almost never sleep, and he used to play COD. I wonder what these players feel when we lose. Do you know what I'm saying, Mike and Sophie? I just don't know how they sleep at night, how they feel after a performance.
Oxide, apparently.
It's a sucker punch. It's a real sucker punch. But I wanted to take a little different sort of route with because I know a lot of great points were made even by the last caller. In a season such as this, where we were going to go with Project Youth, do you guys feel that these bumps on the road were going to be expected? Or are we only looking at the top 4, top 5 that were going to finish above us, technically, what we predicted at the start of the season and said, all right, we're going to lose against those teams, so we're not going to put up a fight against those teams, but we have to win all our matches against the teams below us. Were we expecting these bumps along the road with a young team like this? Because if I go to NYC Gooner, he kept slandering on Ben White's height. Like, how does that become relevant in this conversation?
I don't think understand. It was, and he was on a rampage, and I was kind of, I didn't agree with a lot of what he said. Again, I agree with his right to feel that way, but bumps in the road from Project Youth, I think, are expected. And you hit upon something I've been harping on since the Liverpool loss, which is, with a young team, you have to take advantage of the teams that are in and around you and beneath you, not the 4 or 5 teams that you would likely expect to finish in front of you. Not that those are free hits, but they're you got to beat.
Going to eradicate that bloody saying from this show. free hits.
I'm joking
makes me
about it because
cringe.
there are no free hits. There's no such thing. But in a youth situation like this, you've got to beat the teams below you. And save for Brentford,
Gonna
at
blame
the very
James
beginning of the
Johnson for
season,
that.
we had done that until today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Jared,
why
go
I
on,
feel.
mate.
Yeah, sorry.
No, so
go
I
on.
was going to let Jared answer your question too, because for me, by the way, the players I accept the free hits from, but when people put Arteta on this pedestal here because he was from the Pep Guardiola coaching tree, as a manager, you have to be accountable. I'm not going to blame Nuno today. I'm not going to blame, all of the young players when they're trying to find their feet. The manager is a manager of Arsenal Football Club. He's a man. I don't care whether you've managed before or not, or whether you come from Pep's tree or Tony Pulis's tree. You're the manager of Arsenal Football Club. You need to do better, period. Jared.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right, especially, this isn't his first rodeo. He's on his third year now. I mean, even if you wanted to give him a bit of a pass without the coaching experience and say it takes time to adjust, Arteta's had plenty of adjustment time. It's time to, sort of put up or shut up and start getting some results. As far as the players, we'd all like to think of every player, at their best, Saka, Emile Smith-Rowe, Odegaard, and say that team could go out and win a lot of games. But the reality of every pro sport is players under 23, 22, they're not going to be consistent the same way a 26 or 27-year-old is. And I think you have to temper your expectations. It's an exciting young team, certainly, but you can't expect them to go out there and play to Champions League level every game. That said, they need to perform at a much higher level than they're playing at now if we want to have, any sort of result out of this season. So it's a bit of a trade-off. And I had asked a question online. I never found an answer, haven't been able to find it. I don't know what the highest finish in the Premier League history is by the youngest team in the league, but I'm guessing it's not even in the top half. So what we're trying to accomplish with this group is a pretty tall order. And, if we're talking about getting into a Champions League or European place, it's likely something that may have never been done before. You don't see many teams in the league that are the youngest have good results at all. So it's a bit of an uphill
If
climb.
anyone can find out the answer to that stat, it's Magic Mike. He'll find it by tomorrow.
Reach out to Orbino, no response. So if anybody out there has it, send it to one of us and we'll make sure we credit you for getting us that information.
I'm just going to make, I'm going to make it up.
We've got a few more people waiting. Nikhil, you good? We've got a few people waiting.
I just wanted to make one more point about Arteta talking about bringing Arsene Wenger back. I don't know if you guys got the interview, but Arsene Wenger did an interview with Ian Wright. I think it was for one of the YouTube channels. And he was asked two of the biggest regrets he missed out on signing. And one of them he mentioned very famously is Ronaldo. But the other one was N'Golo Kante. And that pissed me off so much because we could have signed Kante the year we signed Xhaka. And the way Arsene Wenger, I love the guy. I literally absolutely idolized him growing up. I grew up through the Wenger years. But for him to sit in an interview with Ian Wright and with a big smile on his face and say he regrets not signing N'Golo Kante. Oh, he's the one that got away. With the cheek of that man, and we want to get that guy back to the club. I'm really losing patience with Arteta now. Like, honestly.
No, I don't think he's coming back, but
Speaking of drop the mic.
I can't drop it.
Thank you, guys.
You got to listen, Nikhil. You know what? I'm over it. When I hear him talk about who he could have signed, I want to stick needles in my eyes because it would be less painful.
In his defense, he gets asked that question constantly. He doesn't, but
he shouldn't answer it, Mike.
He should just fail to answer. He should
exactly.
He should just say, next he's going to say, I wish I had almost signed 5 more people the summer that I signed Petr Cech, but I just
yes. Nikhil, brilliant stuff from you. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, be sure to not be a stranger and come back. Okay, all right.
Cheers. Bye, guys.
Take care. Bye bye.
And thoughts and prayers to Ian Wright, by the way, as well.
Yes, absolutely, definitely. Now I'm not sure if bringing on this next person is going to be safe or not, but you know what? We don't do safe here on this show. It's Gooner Russ.
Oh, Russ, my dear.
All right, boys and girls.
Gooner Russ, welcome to the show. A lifelong Arsenal supporter. Tell them when you've went to. What was the year of your first ever game, Russ?
1975.
1887.
Coventry City replay in the FA Cup. With my
unbelievable.
Best man, Johnny White. With my best man, Johnny White, and I was best man at his wedding, and he was best man at mine.
So tell us how the Cronkies screwed this game up tonight.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about Project Youth, hasn't there? And there's one thing that keeps confusing me is that
every time we get a player as a man of the match performance, like Lokonga or Ainsley Maitland-Knowles, they get dropped in the next game. So, what part of Project Youth is this philosophy of a player has a really good game and then he gets benched? And people moaning about Arteta's subs. If you looked at that bench tonight, what was there to bring on? There was Balogun and Nketiah, Aubameyang, who's like sulking. It was where we are at the moment. We're in a very, very poor position, player staff wise. The playing staff, as I've been saying, and I've had an argument with Big KC, I've said the players are bang average, absolutely bang average, and they've proved me right in the last 2 away games again. They can't manage a game. You can't tell me that coach is not telling them how to manage a game at the training ground. He's not telling them to not drop back too deep. They're just doing that instinctively. Get a goal up and they take their foot off the gas.
So you believe that is you're not among those that say Arteta plays too cautiously. He's telling them to sit back and absorb
I think
pressure.
It's the very reverse. I think we're playing out from the back. I think we're trying to take the game to teams, and at times when you're away from home, it's a dangerous thing to do. To keep playing out from the back when you getting a high press against you, it's not wise, is it? It's not wise because you're just giving that turnover to them. And once Richarlison had scored twice, which were both disallowed, you should be man marking that man. He's a danger man. We've got to stop that threat, and no one does. They just carry on doing this training ground, boring, horseshoe of doom football, on and on and on.
That's a great way to describe it. I was talking about that with Dave today on the watch along. It's like, I likened it to like passing around the top of the key at a basketball game.
That was Ellis, I think, from Arsenal Vision, came out with that. Or it might have been the fella on Arscast, and Andy, is it? Anthony? They come out with that horseshoe of doom saying, and that's a legacy that has come from Arteta playing for Wenger. Wenger's style was the horseshoe of doom in the latter part of his tenure, and that has now been infected not only into the men's team but also into the ladies' team. It seems to be we're obsessed.
Oh, that's just hold on. That's just one game. I mean, that was an anomaly, to be honest with you. That game, I was horrified.
I've seen them playing that way a lot and getting away with it, getting away with it against lesser teams. But Chelsea sussed them out. But anyway, I digress. That's the philosophy that's endemic in the football club at the moment, is this horseshoe of doom football. The Project U thing, it just confuses me when you see these weird personnel changes. The tactical thing of playing out from the back has to be changed. I will say the plan B that I've been alluding to and I've been banging on about for quite a while is we need a player hold the ball up so we can initiate a plan B. Lacazette isn't that man, and neither is Aubameyang. There's one particular case in point in this game was when Tierney broke forward and Lacazette was still halfway between the penalty box and the halfway line when he got round the back of his man. And then the second time he did it, Odegaard had sussed it and he'd run past Lacazette and he scored. He gambled and he took that gamble and he got in the box and he scored. We haven't got enough players with either the engine or the mentality to get into the box on a regular basis when those crosses are coming in. Tierney's putting beautiful crosses in and there's no one there. And there was another time when Nketiah came on the pitch when he got the ball, he cut back inside and he put a lovely ball across. And Lacazette was asking for the ball in the D. What's he asking for the ball in the D? He put a lovely ball across. It cleared all the defenders, and we haven't got one player gambling on the 6-yard box.
I agree. Look, one of the crosses worked out tonight from Tierney to Odegaard, but a lot of the times I support
Odegaard gambled, Soph.
He did. He gambled. 100% agree with you. And you know what? A lot of the times we can't finish those crosses because we don't have a header of the ball. When was the last time we scored a headed goal? I think it was Gabriel, someone. I don't know.
Partey against Villa.
Nuno, when he crosses it, he crosses it to the feet. He crosses it where players can access it. Go on, Russ. Give us your last point here.
The problem with having someone to head the ball in the box. You've got to have someone actually in the box to head the ball to start off with. You know, Raheem Sterling could score goals with his head when he's standing on the 6-yard box.
Yeah.
When we've got our centre forward continuously standing in the D, we're never going to score headed goals. That's quite common sense to me.
Yeah,
And it's making it easy. It's making it easy, Mike, for teams to defend against us.
Jared, what I worry about is that we can't continue this trend, right? Because what happens is when you have talent like Saka and ESR and Martinelli, you want to keep them, you need to build around them, and they need more experienced players. And our experienced players continue to let us down, which is why missing out on European football last season was a complete disaster. And if we don't qualify for Europe this season, there's no way this manager can keep his job. Absolutely no way.
What if he does keep his job? What if he does keep his job?
Then shame on the owners. Shame on the owners. Really,
I honestly, I've been banging on, as Mike knows, I've been banging on this issue for years and years and years. I think that the main issue is that while these people are at the club, we will be in this perennial mess. We will always be in this Groundhog Day of always being 3 or 4 players short. Where yes, they've spent some money, but they've given it to the wrong person. This money should have been invested when Wenger went, and when Emery was there. He wanted Zaha, and he got Pepe. He wanted a holding midfielder, and they got whoever. I think he didn't get what he needed, and he was the sacrificial lamb. The players turned on him. I just don't see anything changing until we get a change of philosophy from the top, a winning mentality from the top. And I'm afraid the Cronkies ain't showing the fans that they really care about this club. While they let this manager bumble on and on and on. I've never been Arteta out. I've always supported the manager because we had enough of this with the Wenger in, Wenger out. And I didn't want to see the club getting fractured and getting split down the middle again. But I'm sorry, this manager, coach, whatever you want to call him, is not good enough to manage a club of this stature. And the Cronkies are not, what's the word? They're not competent to run a club, an institution like Arsenal Football Club.
And they're not cutthroat enough to get rid of him and do what Chelsea will do and that sort of thing. And
they have no
in that
contingency plan. They have no exit strategy. They are completely baffling to me.
And in that regard, because nothing's going to change on that front, we that's where my hope is that he does learn on the job, because we're too late to bring in someone that's not learning on the job at this point with this ownership.
Magic. Before we let Russ go, I want all three of your take on this in a real quick nutshell. Where is it? It's from Lone Star. It's a really good question. I've lost it now. There's so many people in live chat, but Lone Star was asking, what is our strategy when we go a goal up? Why
don't we have the courage to go forward and kill the game? And that goes back to our question about, is that Arteta's setup? Is he advising the team to sit back and protect the lead? I'm hearing no. I'm just seeing that the players may not lack the confidence to expose themselves to a potential counterattack in an attempt to go up 2-0 to score the third. And I really don't know whether that's Arteta's management style or not. I keep hearing that it is not, and yet we keep doing it. Today was the worst example yet.
I feel, Mike, there's a massive issue here with fitness that we cannot, like Manchester City,
it's interesting, cannot
concertedly pressurise a team because we run out of puff. And I see people running out of puff. Partey is not fit enough to play in the Premiership. Not fit enough. Not quick enough in brain or in his running style, in his thinking. He's just not quick enough for the Premiership. How many times again tonight did he stand on the ball in the middle of the park and get dispossessed? It's driving me mental. Now, is that because...
And you don't need any help with that.
It's driving me mad. We've paid £47 million for him, and he looks like a championship player. It's driving me mental. Now, it might well be that he hasn't got the options around him. You watch Manchester City play, they're a different kettle of fish, but you watch them play, and there's always 3 passes on for everyone who receives the ball. As soon as a player receives the ball, there's 3 people asking for the ball. So he's got 3 choices to make. So if he gets pressed from one angle, there's always an angle this way. That doesn't happen with us. We've got too many watchers,
Yep.
not enough doers.
Great points. Brilliant stuff from you, Russ.
Thank
Russ,
you.
I love you. I miss you.
This isn't your first appearance on the Highbury Squad, is it? Is it? Did we just pop your cherry?
We broke your duck. We broke Russ's duck.
The pleasure was all mine.
You're going to have to come back. There are a lot of people agreeing with you in chat and a lot of people saying, no, don't go.
I'm just a fan, Lou.
Bring him back.
I really want to let rip. I really want to let rip big time.
You mean you haven't yet?
No,
he let rip
way.
once when we were at the 12 pins.
I want you to do that when Super Kev is on as well. I tell you, he's going to have a lot to answer for
Super
tomorrow
Kev
night.
loves him some
I said to Kevin outside the 12 pins, he said, he went straight for me and he said, Russ, he said, what do you think now? We just beaten Watford or Newcastle. Watford 1-0. He said, what do you think now? We're on this run. I said, well, I'll hold my hands up. I said, yeah, well, we're doing better than I expected because I thought after those first three games, we were going to be in a bottom 7-8 scenario by Christmas. We did exactly the same as we did when ESR and Saka came into the team. And we went on that little mini run and just cleared us out of danger a little bit. And we did that after those 3 games. But in those performances, who can honestly say that we deserve to win all of those games? and who can honestly say that we dominated those games? We got into early leads, 3-1, 3-0 against teams, and then sat on it again. Now, you can't tell me when you're bossing a team like Tottenham at home with a crowd behind you, that you get to 3-0 and you suddenly think, well, don't really fancy this much now. I think we just drop back 10 yards and we just have a little easy-osy day. No, you can't do that with the style of play that Mr. Arteta wants to implement. It's got to be all or nothing. It's got to be all 100% commitment for the whole 90 minutes, and they're taking breathers. And there's something wrong with their fitness.
We haven't seen that in years.
I would like to show you this before you go. This was Kev's and I's predictions for the games right up until New Year's Day, okay? And he had us beating Everton. Where are we? Everton there. And I had us getting a point. And I thought that's what we were going to be able to do. Russ, we're going to let you go so we can bring in James Johnston. You have to come back and we're going to do something with Super Kev as well. Thank you so much for all your genius insights.
Best to Jono.
I just wish I had something really positive to talk about when I come on these things. I just feel like I'm a miserable
There isn't. Not tonight. No, you're not. We're all miserable bastards tonight. So you should have heard the first 20 minutes of the show. I sounded like a
screaming hyena.
When I logged into the backstage area, I got
scared Magic Mike. It takes a lot to scare Magic Mike, but I think I did that. And you know what? I wish I could be as cool and as calm as Jared on a night like this, because this dude, he oozes class and coolness, Mr. Jared.
What do you think, Jared, about the Project U thing before I get turfed off?
Well, I'm kind of like everybody else. I like a lot of our young players, but if you don't pair them correctly with some veteran players to where you have a little bit of a mix, you're just never going to get consistent play. And I think that's what we all want, is a consistently high level. And there's a reason you don't see Premier League teams rolling out, 10 guys that are 22 and under. It's too high a level of competition to have consistent success doing that. So I'm not upset with the idea of it, that we're trying to get some players in when they're still young and cheap, then we can afford them and build them into star players to where we can compete or sell them on for large amounts. But it's a difficult thing to do when you're playing in the Premier League, because everybody is really, really good. I mean, you look at the Everton roster, I know they haven't won in 8 games, but if someone handed you a piece of paper and you look at that roster, that looks like a team that should be in the top 12, potentially top 10. I mean, they have some legitimate talent, and they're set 16th, 15th in the league, whatever they are right now.
I think they lost Andre Gomez for quite a few games, didn't they? And he's just a quality
turned the
player.
game tonight. He turned
it. Yeah.
Oh, look at this. Look at this little note. Love you, darling, Mrs. Gooner Russ.
You have a little picture there.
I love it. It's perfection. Right, we're going to bring in James. Russ, thank you so much.
Very much.
We love you. Take care.
All right. Bye, Mike.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye. Here we go, Mike and Jared. I have this guy for you.
Jesus needs to tell us what's going on here.
By the way, hold on one second. Sorry, guys. Everyone's asking for Vinny.
Yeah.
James, move your head over.
Hold on. We've got we have how many in live chat right now?
We got 500.
500. So you know what that means? We got to get 300 likes. Got to get 300 likes. We got 236. Hit that like button.
Right. Over to you guys.
Can you hear me?
It's my sheet. It's my sheet. My sheet. Go on. Go on, James.
Can you hear me?
Misconstruing.
And I would do anything for love. I always do that when James comes in. Although I have to find a Game of Thrones quote now because, dude, your hair looks very like salon selective tonight. Like you just stepped out.
Yeah. Did you?
Lovely.
Did you spend the game getting like a do?
No, I wish it would have been more fun.
Yeah.
Go on, James.
You know what? I sat there watching this game. I see Tommy Asu getting kicked in the face, and I think I'm not going to see a worse decision than this all game.
We haven't talked about that yet.
And then I see Eddie Nketiah come on as a left winger. What am I watching? Eddie Nketiah playing at left wing. No, what am I watching? What am I watching? And do you know what? The miss is absolutely terrible. But that guy has got pelters on my timeline. And you see Aubameyang, okay, he's coming on as a sub. He's probably not, warmed up. He's probably not fresh, calm. That miss is just as bad. But yet, because he's the captain of the club and everybody loves him, he gets hardly anything. I'm sorry, he's not earning his crusts either at the moment. And
that challenge was an absolute disgrace. And my cousin was texting me because he was so furious. We didn't have Smudger on our co-commentary here. We had Martin Tyler and someone else. I don't even know who it was. But he's like, text Smudger, tell him, why isn't he having a go? If this was Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, they'd be all over it. And he was so furious because everyone was so benign about the challenge.
Do you know what? I saw a lot of people after the game complaining about the ref, and I'm sorry, I'm sick and tired of excuses. You shouldn't leave stuff to the ref. You should be good enough to win the game on your own. I mean, I watched refs that are arguably worse than the ones we have now, and we went on a 49 game unbeaten run. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
It is a bit alarming though when you don't see any kind of punishment whatsoever for the boot on the face. Now I know that Godfrey was not intending to step on his face, but there's a standard of care that you have to not step on someone's face a little bit easier than he could have gotten out of that a little sooner. And I just think
he had two more as well, Mike.
It's yeah, no, he should have. The one he got a yellow card for could have been a red. In and of itself, but it certainly should have been the second yellow. So tell me it doesn't affect the game when, maybe give him a yellow for the accidental stomp on a guy's face, and then the second yellow happens and he's gone. Would that affect the game?
I'm kind of curious. Does anybody think that's not a red card on Godfrey? Does anybody think that's not a red?
Yeah, honestly, I've never seen Everton play such vicious football than tonight. They were, Saka. Let's talk about the challenges on Bukayo.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing, right? The guy is being targeted. He is being physically targeted. And do you know what? Even on practically one leg, he's still putting that cross for Eddie Nketiah. And this is, I said to you earlier about Gary Neville. Gary Neville basically tore the experienced players that Arsenal have apart, saying, these young lads are carrying you, but you've got no character in there whatsoever that can just lead them young players through. And he went, until they sign one, they're not going to do anything. And I agree with him, but I don't know what experienced head we could bring in there that would do. Most of the people that we're linked with, again, are all people that are 23, 24, 25, 26. We're not looking at someone.
But no one's going to come to the Arsenal in January when they're not guaranteed European football of that quality. That's the problem.
They are, Sophie, but you're looking at you're looking to get another
Nuno. You're going to get a Samba. You're going to get a Tommy Asu. And I'm not saying that's bad, but we need something a little bit more. Edu in his Sky Sports interview said the next phase of our project is to bring in world-class players. We started with the youth, and we're gonna, that's the next phase.
But you need Europe to get that.
You do,
need Europe
Mike.
to get the world-class players.
You say that, but again, at the same time, you're going to have to get the sugar daddies, and they are out there. But are they the kind of, because they could disrupt whatever good harmony is in? I mean, I'm told that dressing room's harmonious, but tonight.
I'm not sure if I'm not with the senior players. Is it, Jared? Aubameyang actually had a chance to nick a point at the end. That was shocking, that finish.
That's been the story. Even when we're playing poorly, we don't take advantage of the good opportunities we have. We saw Aubameyang do it 2 games ago, and Nketiah tonight. Aubameyang tonight could have had a look. And it's just disheartening that the senior players, and when we say our senior players, we're talking about like 3 guys, because we don't really have many. It's not like we've got a large group or a pool of senior guys to pull from for leadership. There's really not much there. And that's kind of highlighted when things go poorly. I don't like Aubameyang as captain. I don't think he's vocal enough. I don't think he's willing to have a tough conversation with anybody. I think someone like, God forbid, I know no one wants him to be the captain again, but Granit Xhaka, you have to be willing to get in somebody's face and yell at him. Kieran Tierney would be a choice of mine. I think he's willing to have a difficult conversation with somebody. Aubameyang, when things don't go poorly, I feel like he just kind of fades into the background, and it's like he's not even there a lot of times. But again, we don't have many senior players, so we don't have a lot of good choices to sort of lean on.
Guys, just a few days ago, we had the potential. Wow, it got really dark in LA. It's going to storm here. I love it. It's perfect for the night for me. Let's bring the storm in, bring the clouds, bring the thunder, bring the lightning.
Bring in the funk.
Bring in the funk, baby. A few days ago, we were looking at having an 8-point daylight from Man United. We were looking at being ahead of Spurs. Now we have Wolves and Brighton, and dare I say, Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa clipping at our heels. Mike?
Yeah, it's an incredibly fast descent that we're headed on right now, out of nowhere. And as fast as we went up, we are now sliding back down. And I didn't see it coming. I'm naive. I should know better, but I did not see the back-to-back coming. I wasn't super confident about the United game, but I did not see this coming tonight. And before you know it, we could be back in the 8th or 10th place. But the crazy thing about the Premier League is we got a flat track ahead of us. It started tonight, and we didn't bully them. But there's still the opportunity to go on a 3 or 4 match string through the period, through the festive period, and get right back up into where we are. So I mean, it's just every game that's in front of us is the most important game. This Everton one was an absolute failure. Southampton is the next game, I believe, on Saturday.
Southampton, then we have West Ham, and then we have Leeds.
Southampton becomes the most important game we've had in 2 years now. Because if we drop points at home against Southampton, is it home?
We play Southampton at home. Correct.
Yeah. If we drop any points to Southampton at home, then
going into a West Ham game when they're
going
flying.
into West Ham game, I think you're gonna have to start. You're gonna start to see us drop into that mid-table again.
I'm potentially at the game Saturday, and I think if we're not comfortably ahead at half time, that stadium's going to I think at the moment, a lot of the fans there have given Arteta quite I wouldn't say a pass, but they've sort of, okay.
It was a happy place when
James,
I was over there.
Is it Arteta, or is it getting behind like Ramsdale's bravado, rightly so, getting behind like Nuno, and is it that more so than getting behind Arteta? I think the fans have been getting behind the team, not the manager. Mostly, that's just my humble opinion.
No, I'd say you're quite right there. I think there was obviously, what helps is that people were taken away from football for so long, and now they're back. So
I like this comment.
That's a good. I like that. I like that one too. Yeah, we've got to upgrade. It's like when you're on a Zoom call. Shit, it's 39 minutes. Upgrade.
No, it's really, really tough. I mean, I can't take as well that it's these players. I've watched enough of these I've watched enough games under this manager now. He's nearly at a 2-year anniversary at this club.
You know what? I'm going to give him a yellow card. Mikel Arteta, yellow card.
It's the philosophy just isn't there. I'm sorry, it's not there. It's not there. There's nothing tangible that you can cling on to and go, okay, that's the plan, and this is what we're trying to do, and this is where we're going.
I've heard people 2-3 weeks ago saying, I'm starting to actually see an identity from this team. I'm starting to see a way of play.
Well, what is it?
What
is it?
I'm the wrong person to ask, as always. But
we're lucky we're playing at home, by the way.
Yeah,
we really are.
People who had been criticizing Arteta were starting to say, I'm starting to see that now. Were they just saying that because of the 10 points out of 12 and the 20 points out of 24, or were they actually seeing that? And if so, then that there is some sort of a plan going on. It's just it's clearly not a fast moving plan. It's not a shock and awe plan. It's not a whip these players up to to their level because they were just underperforming for the last manager plan. We either need to be ready to kind of buckle in for a long haul, or we're going to have more turmoil in the meantime. And I wish it was as simple as knowing which way it was going to be, by next May, have us in the best possible position. And I just don't. The
thing is, after Man United, you must think that, I wouldn't say he gave him a rollicking, but you'd think he'd motivate them enough, because this game was must win, for both sides. And that
Everton were ready. Everton were ready.
And that reaction in the first half, considering how Man United was gutting. It was like, it's like you've got kicked in the balls twice, one after the other. This one and this kick in the balls hurt more than the.
Yeah, I only have 2 more balls to get kicked in. So we got to go win the next one.
The way I feel tonight, I actually may understand what it feels like to get kicked in the balls now. It's that painful. It's absolutely that painful. Okay, look, we're going to start wrapping things up. I'd love a closing statement from each of you. And I think, Mike, we're going to do this again. Now we've had our dry run. We're definitely going to do this again, don't you think?
Yeah,
it's been a huge success.
If enough people upgrade, then we'll do another one. Look, we've been. My final statement isn't going to be about the game. It's going to be about the show and these types of shows. Jared and I and Owen and Mikey and Andy have done these shows kind of after your post game show for a long time, and what we've noticed over time, based on the kind of haphazard podcasting that we do and the smaller numbers that tend to come from that, is we get a lot of interaction from the same people, and we've really been craving a larger base of people to talk to and to hear from. So what I loved about today was, I don't know how many we got, probably 13 to 15 different people came on tonight, shared their views, people we've seen before, people we haven't seen before, and that's what these shows are all about. A day-to-day show. So if you're the best at it, you and Kev and the different concepts that you have, put in the hard work, and it's great to have as many people in the chat watching and enjoying as they can. But right after the game, you kind of want to hear from people in a way that isn't so reactionary, to, dare I say, not so much fan camish, but more interactive. And that's kind of what we'd like to do. And for you to bring us onto your channel, and kind of dovetail into an open mic show. If people want to listen to you and Kev and then drop off, they can. If they want to continue and hear and have their names and faces and most important, their viewpoints on camera, we're here for it. And and so we'd love to be able to continue to do these. So especially if we end up with the cool James as the final one each time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We love it. And I guess I made up for everybody because I was the fan cam for the first 15 minutes of the show. So there you have it today. Okay. Jared, what say you?
Yeah, somebody had to do it. I'm not a real fan cam-ish type. I'm a little too calm for that.
Newman.
But yeah, I would echo Mike's thoughts. It was great to join you, obviously, and to get so many new people. And if you're watching and you like it, come on next week, come after the next game. If you don't, come on and tell us why we're wrong. That's what kind of makes these shows interesting, is that you get so many people who watch the same game and come away with a totally different set of feelings and just kind of see everything differently. So it makes it a lot of fun. We greatly appreciate, you having us and everybody that joined, and look forward to doing it again soon, hopefully under better circumstances where we've gained a point or two, but we'll take what we can get.
It's the next best thing to being at the pub, because being at the pub after a game, whether it's celebratory, whether it's commiseration, whether you're frustrated, nothing helps you kind of get through that period better than just kind of chatting and being around other people. And for those of us that can't or don't for any particular game, this is the place to come.
Holy crap, you've got the biggest endorsement from one of the Squaddy committee members here. Mr. Newman says, come back, guys. So, I'm sure he's going to create some type of art for you that might be psychotic, but it's always entertaining. So
any art that has anything involving me would just by definition be psychotic. So
name block, I will stay pissed. And, I'm not going to be pissed at some of the players, but I'm pissed at the senior players. But there you go. James is going to be returning to the squad. We're going to have a bit of a tactical showdown on Thursday. It's going to be, James, did I text you about this yet? Anyway.
James going head to head with Josh. Oh,
man.
I want you guys to I want a full out battle royale,
we'll cut some wrestling promos.
4-4-2 and the overlapping,
I mean, if our players can't give us the argy-bargy on the pitch, right, then James and Josh will give it to us. So Mr. Zoo, Mr. Brighton is ready for you, JJ.
You watch. We'll pick exactly the same sides. And then
I don't think so. I don't think that's
happening. It'll be an echo chamber.
Taib, where have you been? Where have you been, babe? We missed you. We're checking out now. So it's probably our longest post-game show. This is what happens when you get Magic Mike on. You do a 1 hour and 26-minute post-game show.
Okay, Sophie time.
Yeah, I know. Well, look, I love you guys so much. This has been a lot of fun. Next time, these guys will do their thing, and it'll be fun. And I love having people on the show that haven't been on before. A lot of really smart gooners out there who have some great views on our club. And at the end of the day, we may disagree, but we all love the Arsenal, and that's what it's about at the end of the day. And why I want to go pivot.
Ross,
thank
you
like so
throwing
much.
A couch off of a building right now.
Tell everyone where they can find you, JJ. Start with you.
Yeah, can I just say as well, Jared, I really love you in Homeland and Band of Brothers, man. I think you're amazing. I haven't seen Billions, but I love you in Band of Brothers and Homeland. I think
we're doing the lookalikes tonight.
I haven't seen any of those shows, so that one totally missed me. Someone can fill me.
It's Damian Lewis.
Damian Lewis.
Really? You think he looks like Damian Lewis?
Yeah, I really do.
Haven't figured Jared out yet, but we'll do that. Maybe we should do a podcast, a lookalike thing one day. Mike, this is prime for you. Oh my god!
No, I've got too many lookalikes in like a week. Hagrid,
Jesus probably trumps all of them. I'm guessing.
Jesus.
Yeah. 4 years ago, I went
Game of
on.
Thrones.
4 years ago, my son and I went on AFTV after a North London derby that we came over, and of course, I made the mistake of reading the comments. Which were all like, who invited fat American Usmanov to come watch the game? Like, Usmanov's fat enough. Like you're calling me fat Usmanov? I mean, so that's my claim to fame. But
so good. That's lovely.
You can catch Jared and I and the other boys at the Gooners Pod when we get off our asses and decide to pod. You can go to goonersvcancer.com to win. To try to win one of the most amazing prizes that you possibly can, an 89 signed shirt signed by the 4 players with whom it was up for grabs. Go to goonersvcancer.com and check that out. It's a limited auction that you have the chance to. It's like I said, when people saw Willian and put on, it was just, I'm wearing 95 of those weight belt things on myself so that
Oh my God. You guys crack me up. Well, thank you. And LL Cool James 91 is James' handle, and he'll be on Thursday for the Tactical Showdown, the big game against Southampton this weekend. Listen, guys, no matter what happens, we love our football club. Tonight was a tough night. I have to say, having the boys on and everyone eased my pain. I calmed down a little bit, but don't underestimate that this Greek is still fuming inside. Right. Tomorrow night, Super Kevin Campbell will be here. Can't wait to hear him explain himself after this debacle against Everton. Part of him was probably, he's not happy, by the way, because he's an Arsenal fan. Even though he played for Everton, he's not going to be happy about what happened.
At least Tyree
tonight.
scored this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Good goal as well.
We'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you for joining this 1.5 hour extravaganza. Thank you to the Gooners Pod for making it happen. Go on, Kev. Go on, Kev.
Squaddy at ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Bloody hell, it's really dark here now.